Today I wanted to talk about polygamy again. I get asked a lot of questions. I'm not some big expert on it, but I do have my opinions and observations. So today, what do we call it? Polygamy raw, polygamy in practice. Um, there are some things that most people don't think about. They just think about sleeping arrangements, and it's about as far as they get. And really, there's a lot of practical things if you're going to try doing this that most people don't think about. Insurance, health insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. Life insurance, for example, you have to have investable interest. So you just can't take a life insurance policy out on anybody. Married people, for example, if you have a life insurance policy on your spouse and you get divorced, it's it gets changed. You gotta find somebody else. It's done. So some of the other things like inheritance rights. How will you pass property on to your new wife or wives and children? Did you think about that? Owning property and assets, LLCs, trusts, survivorship planning. How are you going to own property and assets? Transportation and housing. Have you thought about that? You know, transportation becomes an issue. Um, Living arrangements. Are you going to have one house, multiple houses? You see what I'm going there? Are you going to jump from house to house? Sleeping arrangements. You going to have one bedroom for each wife, and then you just jump from bed to bed? Are you going to have a bedroom for each wife and your own bedroom? Once you have multiple households, you're gone. Kids only get to see you half the time, a third of the time, a fourth of the time. Who's going to work? Is it just going to be the man? Are the women going to work? Are one of the women going to work? Who's going to watch the children? Are you going to have daycare? Paying the bills. Who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to be responsible for paying the bills? And, if you haven't figured out by now, this is not for poor people, and it is not for the faint of heart. Time management. So as you add more wives and children, you are going to have diminishing returns. In other words, if you have 4 wives, they each get a fourth of your time. Plus you have children. If you have children by 4 wives, you're going to have lots of people demanding your time. And, guys, sex is awesome, don't get me wrong, but everybody needs alone time. The more people you have in your life, the less alone time you're going to have, which makes it a lot more difficult to manage stress. So, I have a friend of mine. He's been leasing from me for a couple of years, a business guy, and he is a Muslim. So, he shared with me that his dad had multiple wives. His uncle had 4 wives, so his dad had 2 wives. And in Islam, you are commanded to treat them all equally. And for that reason, in his experience, he personally did not want to have multiple wives, although he believes Islam, their teaching. His dad, for example, the reason why he did not want to have multiple wives is because of the effect it had on his mother and himself. And part of that, I think, is because of Islam, their teachings. So the equality thing, one of the things that his mother was very offended with is she felt that she gave him 30 years or whatever, and he was treating his new wife equally. She didn't think that was fair. I don't blame her, but that's Islam. So, but that really affected his mother, and because of that, this gentleman was telling me it really affected him. The other thing is, when he took a new wife, he chose to have separate households. So he only, this gentleman I was talking about only got to see his dad half the time. His wife only got to see her husband half the time. And then because of the equal treatment, she felt like she gave him the best years of her life, and she got no recognition or benefit for it. So that's one of the things that you'll have to deal with. Not the final thing, but one of the things for any marriage, business, country is your why. What's your why? Why do you do what you do? Is it like polygamy? Do you want to do it for religious reasons? Do you want to do it just for sex? Are you nation building? In other words, you want the black Hebrew Israelites, they're into keeping the law and practicing polygamy, and they outright, most of them will admit they're nation building. They're trying to have as many children as possible to propagate their race. Your why will get you through troubled times. It'll get you through problems with your life, whether you're monogamous or you're polygamous. Everybody needs a why. Like, what keeps your family together? You need a foundation. You need a reason and a goal for your family, for yourself, or it usually falls apart. Whether it's your personal life, your family life, a church, like everything needs a reason for being. They need a goal. They need something in the future to look forward to. What is that? If you don't have that, what's going to happen is everybody's rowing the boat, but you're just going in circles. You need a good map and a destination. And if you don't have those things, you're going to have problems. Whether you're monogamous, polygamous, personal, single, you run a business. Every business has to have a purpose and a plan, business plan, goals. It empowers people to motivate them to do what they do. This should go without saying. If you're a shitty monogamist, you're going to be a shitty polygamist. Start with a really good track record. Start with one wife, one girlfriend, whatever. If you can't handle one and be happy for any length of time without a bunch of troubles, if you take on another woman, you're a glutton for punishment. How was your first relationship? If there's things you're lacking, this is a double-edged sword. You can have somebody with good qualities that's lacking a few things that you can find in another person. And two people combined it fulfills your needs. Nothing wrong with that, I guess, but I'm just saying that if you have a crappy first relationship, you're probably going to have a crappy second, third, whatever, fourth relationship. So if it's bad, don't do it. Just don't. Like monogamy, not all relationships work out. Some part ways. And people are quick to point out failures in multi-wife relationships, but in reality, everything that can go wrong in a monogamous relationship, multiply by the amount of wives you have and do the math. People get strained and things fail. And you look at divorce rates amongst monogamous people, and it's about 50%. And you know what? With this so-called empowerment of women, no-fault divorce stuff since the 70s, it's over 70% of all divorces are initiated by women. So guys, if you take on one wife, the odds are against you. But I'll get into that in a few minutes. But if you take on more than one wife, and if you don't have a purpose, a goal, and a direction, you are screwed. Ladies, this is kind of towards you. It's all in the mind. And if you've ever watched Jerry Springer for any amount of episodes, one of the main phrases you're going to hear from women is, "That's my man." And this is just flat wrong. In nature, in real life, you are his. He is not yours. You know, you want to be cared for, taken care of, be protected, and all that. That's not describing you possessing a man. It's a man possessing you, and it's wrong. It's just wrong. Women fantasize. Women are great fantasizers, and they fantasize about a perfect man. They fantasize about their wedding. They fantasize about everything. Um, Romance novels are proof of this. Romance novels are mainly read by women. Daytime soap operas, which aren't probably as much of a thing today, it's more reality TV, but used to be for many, many years. Daytime soap operas were primarily watched by women, still are, the ones that are around. And this ideal is rarely met in life. And that's why women are always, oh, there's no perfect man, or you're setting yourself up for failure. And in reality, women, you need to lower your expectations because you're dreaming things that just aren't real. And TV doesn't help because TV can create situations that you're viewing that are, you know they're fake, but they give you the idea that they're possible. Um, Men, be honest. Uh, it's always about sex. It's always about sex. Don't give some bullshit story or cockamamie. Everybody knows it's about sex. Quit pretending. And biology is this, that we are evolved, created, however you want to put it, but we get boners, we want to put them in vaginas, and we want to have sex, and we want to plant that thing as deep as we can. That is for the sole purpose of procreation. It feels good, so we want to do it a lot. But the fact is we get girlfriends and we get married because we want to have sex. And polygamy is just an extension of that from a biological standpoint. It's just the way it is. Quit pretending. The baser urge is normal. It's perfectly natural. Polygamy and cheaters. The statistics are about 25% of all marriages in countries that allow polygamy actually practice it, the guys. It's about 25%. And the funny thing is, ironically, if you look at monogamous countries that don't allow that legally, they've done a lot of surveys, a lot of statistics and stuff, and it's amongst boyfriends, girlfriends, or boyfriends and husbands, it's about 25% that cheat. So it's happening no matter what. It's about 25% of the population. Um, so really, we should adjust for this, and instead of putting guys in a position to lie and cheat and be deceitful and all that to satisfy a baser urge, the urge isn't wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just creating an environment where everybody can be protected, safe, happy, hopefully. Um, so that's that. And then, so a lot of the things I hear, a lot of times people say, well, women, if guys can have more than one wife, why can't women have multiple husbands? Clearly you have not watched Animal Planet or went to high school or the local bar. Guys fight over women. There has been wars started over women. That's just not a good thing. Throughout history, every culture that has tried practicing um, multiple men with women, it's not lasted long and it's failed. That's a historical fact. And yet we still have polygamy today in multiple countries, and it's practiced unofficially, you know, illegally. Um, you know, multiple guys have sex with a woman. Who's the daddy? Who's your daddy? And you know, a guy can have sex with multiple women. Everybody knows who the daddy is. That's just a fundamental thing. There's a big difference. And men just naturally don't want to take care of other men's children. It's just the way it is. So my final thoughts is it is all about sex. Get over it. Ladies, you are never going to be enough for a man. And no matter how hot you are, a guy is a walking erection. Given the opportunity, and societal acceptance of it, a guy will bang everything with 2 feet in a vagina that's not already taken by another man. That's just the way it is. And, guys can love more than one woman, just like you can love more than one friend, family member. You can love more than one child. You can have more than one goal. You can have more than one job in life. It's facts. Men know this. There are two things let me rephrase how I said that. Men, if you haven't figured this out yet, there are two things that women require. They need it. They crave it. Every woman desires this. It is a desire to feel loved and secure. If you don't have a girlfriend and you've had a bunch of girlfriends and you can't figure out why you can't keep one, those are two things to work on. If you make her feel secure and loved, they'll stick around most of the time. The other thing, and this is kind of a bedroom thing, is women do not have pleasure sensation nerves directly in the vagina. It's a birth canal. And some women can orgasm indirectly through the vagina, but women are always disappointed most of the time that they don't get off just with intercourse. And you need to understand this. And so if you're selfish and you're only having sex with your wife or girlfriend and you are not making sure she's satisfied clitorially, well, you probably already know that if you don't know this. And I'm telling you, every time you have sex, make sure that the woman you're with is fully satisfied, preferably before you have sex. She will put out. If you keep her happy, she will put out because she's getting something out of it. If all you're doing is satisfying your basic urge to get off and you're not satisfying her, if you're not getting sex, that's probably a pretty good reason for it right there. Little practical advice. Have fun.